Hi everybody! So whether you love them or hate them, online meetings are here to stay. So millions of people who've been working from home for months are starting to experience Zoom fatigue. So today we're going to talk about what is this mystery phenomenon and what can you do about it. So if you're new here, hi, my name is Liz and I love making videos about video marketing, social media, and public speaking and how all of these things can help you to build your business. Don't forget to hit subscribe so that you don't miss any of my videos, so let's jump right into it. Now first of all, let's talk about why exactly people are starting to experience Zoom fatigue. Remember when the pandemic first started and we were all getting on Zoom with our friends and from our classmates from grade 4 and reacquainting with each other, and it was all fun and games. So now people have started to become exhausted of it, and not just now, but it's been happening for a few months. Whether it's Zoom meetings with your colleagues at work, or just with your friends to catch up, or with your friends and family in faraway places, people are starting to get exhausted from this constant demand to be on their camera, whether it's on Zoom or Google Meets or any of the other multitude of platforms for this. So let's think about why exactly this happens, and there's a whole bunch of reasons. But what I wanted to remind you is that when we are at home and on a camera having a live camera call with any of our friends or family, there's in fact no separation between our personal life and our professional life. So what does that mean exactly? Now, you know that when I'm sitting here on camera and I'm making my video, I'm looking all nicely dressed and stuff, but you and me both know that I'm wearing slippers during this. So same way, people who are on Zoom calls for their work, or people who are having Zoom calls with their friends just to catch up, they're in the same environment that they've mainly been in for the last 7-8 months. It's totally different from getting dressed and going to the office or putting on something nice and going out to meet friends. It all just kind of blurs into one big environment, and that can really be sort of mentally exhausting for people. Another reason is that, in fact, when you see people in real life, we have the hugs and the handshakes, and we can sit next to them, and we can, touch them on the arm and look at them in their face, and there's a whole sort of social high from being out with people in real life. And then, of course, our body is also releasing all sorts of chemicals that make us feel warm and cozy and comfortable. So we don't get any of that on video. As nice as it is to look in someone's eyes on the video camera or on the screen, it's not at all the same as being in real life with them, and none of those chemicals are in fact expressed in our body. So this is another one of the reasons that we feel like even though we are technically connecting with people on screen, it's not the same type of in-live personal connection. Now, many people have anxiety about their environment where they are actually on Zoom calls, meaning a lot of people have been working from home. So sometimes on a Zoom call, in the back of your mind, you've got this nagging wonder whether all of your children are going to come running into the room, or whether your cat is going to come across the camera, or if any other thing could be happening in the background. So there is a little bit of that anxiety also going on. So that feeling and that pressure that everything has to be perfect, everything has to look good and be silent during Zoom meetings can weigh on us. But let's look at some of the things that we can do to kind of combat this and to regroup ourselves if we are indeed feeling Zoom fatigue. Now, one of the first and easiest things that you could start doing in all of your Zoom calls is to seat yourself about 3 feet from your webcam. That's a really comfortable place for you to be in because you're not in the face of the laptop, and it's actually a really comfortable place for people to look at you from because it gives you a little bit of headspace and side space, and it makes everyone feel like you're not just in each other's face all the time. Now, another really easy thing that you can do, especially if you are facilitating or chairing the meeting, is to have something different every 10 minutes. Now, 10 minutes is approximately the length of time that anyone can very comfortably concentrate on what is happening in front of them on a Zoom call. After that point, it really starts to wear on them and they start getting distracted and feeling depleted of energy. So every 10 minutes or so, you should have a video or some other type of activity or just something to break up from the normal discussion. Or if there's an opportunity, you could take a 1-minute break and then come back and regroup. That will really reset the energy and manage to keep everybody's attention on par right to the end of the meeting. Now, the next thing that I want to say has to do with every type of a meeting, not just Zoom meetings. But the reason that Zoom meetings sometimes become frustrating is because they never end. This is the problem. If you are the chair of a meeting and you have an agenda, make sure that people who are attending that meeting aren't going on and on and on and on and causing that meeting to drag on. People have a certain level of patience when it's a real life meeting because the energy of the environment is there. Sometimes there's coffee, there's something else to look at. So even if a meeting goes 10 minutes or 15 minutes overboard, people will still forgive that. But usually everyone who is on an online meeting is just desperate to log off. That is the reality of it. So don't be the chairperson that's letting this meeting go on while every single agenda item is getting dragged. Try to keep it short and sweet and let people go off to their own non-Zoom items on their calendar. Now, the next thing to keep in mind is that this whole platform of looking at a computer screen, seeing a bunch of faces there, seeing yourself there in a little square, and then talking is all completely unnatural. It is a wonderful invention. It's really allowed business and social life and personal and professional and everything to carry on, especially through a pandemic. However, it is a very, very odd way of interacting, and it's not something that we or our brains are used to processing. So when you're in a Zoom meeting, try to just adjust the view of how you are looking at it. Sometimes we have a tendency to keep the screen on the gallery view so that we have 15 people on the screen in small squares and we can see everything that they're doing. They can see everything that we're doing. That becomes overwhelming. That contributes to the overwhelm of using Zoom and all of these type of platforms. So I highly recommend that you just change it from gallery view to speaker view. Just look at the person who's speaking. That is a very natural thing to do. And then you can take that one step more and then you can use the function in Zoom specifically to hide yourself. Now you might wonder, why would you want to hide yourself? Well, it is really unnatural to see yourself while you are looking at other people. That doesn't happen in real life unless you're talking in front of a mirror all the time. So hide yourself. Get that pressure off of you always to be checking if you have flyaways in your hair or if your shirt is crooked. So get rid of that scene and then just be looking just at the speaker, and that'll really help to combat all the general feelings of Zoom fatigue. Now, the next suggestion that I want to make is one that people hesitate to do all the time, and that is if you are starting to feel drained of your energy and exhausted during a Zoom meeting, just turn off your camera for a couple minutes. People never want to do this because they're worried that other people will wonder what's going on and feel like they're shutting themselves off from the meeting, but in fact, that's not the case. Many people have understood over the last 7-8 months of being on Zoom calls that this live camera action can be exhausting to everyone, and people are very forgiving and accepting of the fact that sometimes we just need to take a minute. So if you're starting to feel anxious and frustrated just being on that call, turn off your camera, take a couple minutes just to be off camera and just to reset, reframe your mind, and then turn it back on, and nobody will judge you or worry about a single thing. Now, another classic mistake that many corporate people make is to book back-to-back-to-back Zoom meetings. Whether you're managing your calendar on your own or someone is managing it for you, make sure that you try to break up every 1 to 2 camera meetings with some other type of activity, like your phone calls or your paperwork. That really gives you a chance to just reset yourself, get a different change of scenery, let your eyes calibrate and look at something else, and just prevent you from feeling completely exhausted by the end of the day from having been on the camera too much. Now, the reality is online meetings have really changed the scene for a lot of people. Working from home has also been a completely different experience for millions of people around the world. So it is true that we will probably be stuck with Zoom meetings and Google Meets and all of these online platforms for a while. So if you are feeling like your energy is drained and you're feeling angry at your computer all the time and frustrated, then it could be the case that you are suffering from Zoom fatigue. But I suggest that you try out these recommendations and just kind of reset yourself and recognize the fact that human live interaction is something that can never be replaced by a computer. So all of these feelings are very natural. If you like this video, don't forget to click like and to send it to a friend of yours who might be experiencing Zoom fatigue. Don't forget to subscribe so that you never miss any of these videos where I talk about video marketing, public speaking, and how to use social media for your business. Until next time, take care.